What's it like to give God a nickname? This is Dan from sermonsnack.com, bite-sized truths in 5 minutes or less. You know, the Bible's got this interesting passage in Galatians and in Romans where it says that God has given us His Spirit. He's adopted us as His children, and He gives us His Spirit that calls out, Abba, Father. And this word Abba is really this idea of daddy or papa or dad, whatever close nickname you would have. And it's amazing to use this kind of terminology because, of course, with your average person that you meet, I mean, the most formal of people, you ascribe to them a name. You don't even use their name. You would say, oh great king. And maybe you would go one level closer in relationship and have a Mr. or Mrs. last name, right? Whatever that is. And then as you get to know them, you can go on to, a first name basis. And that's a bragging point, isn't it? Where you're like, I'm on a first name basis with, this famous person or this great person. But there's a whole nother level when you say, I've got a nickname for this person. We're on that nickname level of the relationship. And that word, dad or papa or daddy or Abba, I mean, that's the nickname that you really give your parent as a child. Now, what's also interesting about this is thinking about your parents and if you've ever actually thought of them by their first name. And so would you ever call your parent, your dad or your mom, by their first name? Maybe someone asks you, what's your dad's name? Or you refer to your parents by the first name. It's really, really strange. This idea even came up in The Simpsons where Bart would only call his dad Homer instead of dad, and it drove him nuts. And it was funny, but it also showed this distance between the two. And you even have movies and sort of the cliche stereotype movie where you have a dad who's passed away, the mom remarries, and now the child is hesitant to use the word dad. And so they always call them by their first name, hey, this is Steve and Steve and Steve. But then finally that climactic moment in the music swells up and sure enough, the kid says, thanks, Dad. And everyone's like, what? And so he called him Dad. And there's this change in the relationship where everything gets shifted on to a nickname basis, where it's close enough to use a nickname. And I think that's what we're invited to with God. It's about realizing what it's like in our own lives. Is there distance? Is there formality? And that there's a place for that in our relationship with God. He is God Almighty, creator of the universe, but He also invites us to move past that as well and to have this closeness and this intimacy that allows us to use a nickname when we talk to Him. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Apple Podcasts or other podcast services, or you can check us out online at sermonsnack.com.